So we got back here. I don't think he knew what in the world he was going to do, but he had done very well with Peter Kiewit Sons for sure. And so he left there financially well set.
You know, when I came back to Walla Walla, like Jenny said, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. What happened is Kiewit had paid me very well, and so I had money sitting in the bank account, and the banker, Baker Boyer, called me in and said, you know, Norm, I have a fellow here that wants to sell a farm, and I think he's asking a real fair price for it. I bought it, and I knew just that much about wheat growing too. And about that time, Mike Hogue came to me and said, Norm, while you were gone, I started a winery, and it's grown to 30,000 cases, and it's out of hand. He said, I need money and I need management help. And so we bought in with Mike, and over the next few years, we grew it to 100,000 cases. Mike came out to look at my wheat ranch in Waitsburg, and he said, you know, we just started making sparkling. Why don't you try planting some? So that's how that acreage came about. I thought, I'm an engineer, I can grow wine grapes.
It's farm country, wheat country, and they were not fond of having a vineyard planted out there because they're not happy to see any grapes in wheat country. They planted the vineyard, and it wasn't vineyard country, and it was going up a hill, and oh man, they had to sink a well. They had to have the water, all very, very expensive, and they planted the wrong varietals in the wrong place.
One thing that did come out of it is I hired every expert I could think of to fly up and look at it with me. Everyone said, junk it. I even flew a man over who handles the vineyards from Mouton in Bordeaux, and it was not cheap. I had a couple of specific questions, but I learned a lot more from him walking around in the vineyard and talking, comments he would make.
So it was costly, but it was an education, and he knew a lot more than he did when he went into it.
Tom Walliser and Bob Rupert were partners with me, and I said, I want to plant some grapes. That was not very well received, and I finally said, look, I want to get 10 acres over here and try it, and they said, okay. So in 91 I planted, and in 92 I was dropping a few grapes on there because I didn't want to stress the vines for a year or two. And Marty Clubb came along and said, what are you doing? I said, I'm dropping this. And they said, can I have those grapes? So he rounded them all up and made one barrel of wine, which he gave me a case of. What happened is that that first year that I had a full crop, I decided I need to market it. And so I went to Leonetti, the Cole 41, Woodward Canyon, Andrew Will, and said, can you guys use some grapes? And I knew all of them well. And they said yes. And when the wine came out 2 and 3 years later, it said Pepper Bridge Vineyard, and everybody started calling me to see if they could get grapes. I was actually very lucky. I picked the 4 best people you could have used to impress people, know the quality. And from there, we just kept planting grapes. I'd asked Mike Hogue if we could produce wine at his place, and he said sure. And so I'd known Tom Eddy for quite a long time, and Tom has a winery in Napa, very, very well-known winemaker, very highly educated. And I said, Tom, would you help me by flying up on weekends and doing crush for me? And he said, sure. And so he crushed the 98, which is our first crush, and at Hogue Cellars. And I said, Tom, I can't really afford to fly you up every weekend. And I said, I think I need a winemaker. And he said, look, I know somebody. You fly down to Silverado Country Club in Napa and have a glass of wine with him.
But this friend of mine was a consultant, said, you ought to meet this man, Norm McKibben. So I agreed on meeting him one time in a country club. So I met Norm. I was actually working for Heights Wine Cellars at the time, and I had no intention to go anywhere.
I didn't think a chance in hell I was going to get this fellow away from Heights Cellars.
He is very astute in the wine world. He's 3rd-generation winemaker.
Well, if I said first, are you familiar with Walla Walla? Nope. Washington State? Nope. Well, would you consider flying up to Walla Walla and seeing what we have? He said, okay.
And Norm actually gave me a ticket to come to Walla Walla, and I love to travel, so I came here.
You've got to have a good winemaker. I mean, there's no two ways about it. So unless you have a great palate, hire a good winemaker.
He's quite the guy. He's a very good winemaker, as you know.
The first time I came here, I went to the three founders. I went to see Gary Figgins and Leonetti. I went to see Rick Small, but Mardi Club was not there. So Norm had actually literally a plan on a piece of paper of which barrel to taste in the cellars. Anyway, after the first weekend and tasting those wines, I saw a fantastic potential. So this will really kind of excite me to come up here.
He says I'm the best salesperson he's run into now because I talked him into leaving Heights Cellars, and I gave him a 2-year contract because we hadn't even built a winery yet.
Norm started Pepper Bridge Winery in 1998. My starting date was August 1st, 99. So I came here right on time to break ground for this winery. For some reason, I all the time had this kind of a dream to build a winery, and Norm gave me the chance.
I already had the design and the drawings, but he looked at things and said, you need to change this here from a winemaker standpoint. And it was very helpful, yeah.
Out of the batch, I think due to my background, we had a little bit of a different interpretation of the grapes than maybe other colleagues or friends here. And we decided to take a little bit of European style of wine, a little bit, I will say, more restrained. And it was a little bit of a gutsy in the beginning.
After I tasted his wine, I think it was a second crop, so probably 99 in the barrel. I said, would you like to be a partner? He said yes, he would.
And Norm and I got involved with several other wine-related businesses in Walla Walla, but I couldn't find a better mentor, friend mostly, and great partners. And frankly, a partnership is not an easy deal, but working with Norm over 20 years, I don't recall once and we had some serious problem. We all can resolve it, but it's been fantastic. So one thing with the wine industry is we only have the chance to make wine once a year. Other businesses, you're in a restaurant, you miss something, you can turn around right away. So, if you do 40, 50 vintage in one of your lifetime, it's quite a bit.
I've always told people, I really believe it, that if you have a 100-point wine, the best there is, it doesn't happen very often. It's a great year at the vineyard and no mistakes at the winery.
So it's been pretty exciting. I think the wines are getting better, because I think the wines is getting older, but I think our knowledge is getting better. But also I think our wine is getting more depth, a little more precise, more defined.
And it's been very interesting. We're learning a little more all the time. I think the wine, as I taste back, is very good, the old wine, but I think we're doing a little better job all the time. Most of the changes now in the vineyard.
This is what Pepper Bridge is about, and I think, 21, 22 years into it, I think one thing about us, we still remain, very faithful to our style. Not saying that we're not evolving slowly and surely what's happening, but also consistency has been a major thing for us.
I really, truly believe that if we continue like we are, we're going to be known very much like Napa as a great wine area. We are, but we're going to become known very much as a great wine area.
We're going to keep looking for this pursuit of getting better, surrounding ourselves with fantastic employees and treat them the best we can, and most likely to have fun and drink a lot of good wine.